In June 2025, tensions between Iran and Israel exploded into open war, shattering a fragile peace that had lasted for years. The world was suddenly thrust into a new era of uncertainty, as old rivalries reignited with devastating force. Israel launched targeted airstrikes deep inside Iran, killing top Revolutionary Guard commanders and striking military sites in Tehran. The attacks were swift and precise, sending shockwaves through the Iranian leadership and population alike. Iran retaliated swiftly, hitting dozens of military targets across Israel, plunging both nations into fear and chaos. Sirens wailed in Israeli cities as missiles rained down, and the threat of further escalation loomed over the region. Explosions rocked residential areas, making the violence personal for ordinary people. Families fled their homes, and entire neighborhoods were left in ruins, their lives upended in an instant. Israel's government declared its aim: dismantle Iran's nuclear program, and called on Iranians to rise up against their regime. The message was broadcast across the world, adding a new layer of tension to an already volatile situation. This plea placed Iranian citizens, especially women, in a perilous position, caught between a repressive government and a foreign adversary. Many faced impossible choices, torn between fear, hope, and survival. The world watched anxiously, fearing the conflict could engulf the entire Middle East. Diplomats scrambled to prevent a wider war, but uncertainty and dread hung over every conversation. Beneath the headlines, the lives and hopes of women in both countries were thrown into turmoil, their futures more uncertain than ever. In the shadow of war, their resilience and courage would be tested as never before. For many Iranian women, the news of the airstrikes brought a forbidden sense of relief, an emotion they rarely allowed themselves to feel. For a brief moment, it seemed as if the architects of their oppression were gone, and the weight of years of injustice might finally be lifted. The halls of power that once echoed with the voices of those who enforced strict rules now stood silent. The possibility of change, long imagined but never realized, suddenly felt tangible, but hope was quickly replaced by fear. War threatened to bring even harsher crackdowns and new dangers. The uncertainty of what would come next sent waves of anxiety through families and communities. The possibility of regime change was tangled with the risk of greater violence and chaos. Streets that once echoed with chants for freedom now filled with the sounds of sirens and distant explosions. One woman described it as a paradox: justice for the past, but terror for the future. The sense of vindication was inseparable from the dread of what might follow. The woman, life, freedom movement had inspired hope for peaceful change, but now dreams of revolution were overshadowed by bombs and uncertainty. The vision